a whole planet out of shit I found floating around in space. These little muppets haven't even found the other universes I made on a Saturday night for fun. Send in the fucking tornado. Right, wait.
Now, it begins again. In the beginning, there was nothing. Nothing but the silence of an infinite darkness.
You know, in the old days, I'd have to come with dragons blowing fire at my ass. Nobody can stop me. You don't have a fucking leg to stand on. You have no spiritual currency. You're like a lifeless body. It's clear who holds the Spear of Destiny, and it's clear who is the Prince of Darkness. I've literally made royal proclamations standing on the Holy Spear. And what I'm telling you is that, you know, you'll swear on your King James Bible, at least your president will. Your leaders will. And in there, Corinthians 4:4, this is Satan's world. And you see, you're the father of all lies. That you teach your children about Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, that they're on a ball floating through space as an accident, that they evolved from monkeys. You don't tell them that one electron, one positron, that they're in a light bulb underneath like an embryonic fluid, they're in the Xbox. That there's a land of perpetual twilight right on the other side of our flat earth plane. That there's a dome above our head, that there's a holy hole, and that you set up a Christmas tree with spiral lights around. You don't tell them anything. You've never told your children a single truth.
The breath of the Creator fluttered against the face of the void, whispering, "Let there be light." And light was. And it was good. The first day.
Go over exactly what radiometric dating is. Radiometric dating works on the following principle. Over time, radioactive material will decay. The starting material is known as the parent element. What it decays into is known as the daughter element. If one knows the rate at which the element decays, how much parent material there was to start with, by measuring the amount of parent and daughter material present today, one can back calculate how old the rock is. But this technique relies on two key assumptions. The first is that the rate of decay for a specific element has been constant over the lifetime of the rock. In the case of the oldest rocks on Earth and asteroids in space, we're talking billions of years. Clearly, since no one was around for all that time, this is a reckless assumption, put in place by God-hating atheist scientists to disprove the literal interpretation of the Bible. Not really. First, scientists have subjected radioactive elements to a wide range of temperatures, pressures, magnetic and electric fields, without measuring any change in the rate of decay. If it were possible to accelerate the rate of decay, we wouldn't have radioactive waste piling up for nuclear reactors. Second, the rate of decay was faster in the past as suggested by some creationists. This doesn't bode well for the Earth. See, as radioactive elements decay, some of their energy is given off in the form of heat. Even small amounts of radioactive material can produce an enormous amount of heat. It's the principle by which our nuclear reactors and weapons work. Well, if you accelerate the rate of decay, you accelerate the rate of heat production. The core of the Earth is kept molten in part due to the heat given off from the decay of radioactive elements. If you compressed 4.5 billion years of radioactive decay into a few thousand years, as some young Earth creationists would have you believe, the ground you're currently standing on would be molten. Yet that doesn't seem to be the case.
It's that you got gold fever virus, God virus, time virus, language virus. You're so far behind in reality. It goes beyond measure. You need to make an atonement for your sins. Animal sacrifices are insufficient. You know, the only reason I get away with the impossible is because I put up so much blood under the right name, Satan.
Everything we know about the nucleus of the atom collected over the past century has told us that the rate of decay of radioactive elements has been constant for billions of years. The second...
And then the formless light began to take on substance and shape. The second day. And our world was born. Our beautiful, fragile home. And a great warming light nurtured its days. And a lesser light ruled the nights. And there was evening and morning. Another day.
They're all fucking lost out there. Go down the fucking flat. They're all fucking going in circles. It's just crazy. The ifs and blah, blah. It's clear. You either see it or you don't. You set up a motherfucking Christmas tree. You suck on a candy cane. You take me all this shit set up. Santa coming down the shit, shoot at the fire. Every freaking TV. There's no way to fuck it up. It's clear. Once you were blinded, now you can see.
And the waters of the world gathered together, and in their midst emerged dry land. Another day passed.
Key assumption in radiometric dating is that you can somehow know the amount of starting material. For example, one of the major techniques used to date the solar system is the uranium-lead technique. Uranium, produced in a supernova, whose remnants seeded a gas cloud which gave rise to our solar system, decays into lead at a known rate. Uranium-235 decays into lead-207, uranium-238 decays into lead-206.
And the ground put forth the growing things, a thick blanket of green stretching across all creation. And the waters, too, teemed with life. Great creatures of the deep that are no more. Vast multitudes of fish, some of which may still swim beneath these seas. And soon, the sky was streaming with birds. And there was evening. And there was morning. A fifth day.
It's clear. I gave you eyes to see. 144,000. We're getting the fuck out of here. We're going to go get to the Garden of Eden. We're going to grab some seeds. Come back here. We have drank from the living waters. We're going to bring forth heaven. We plant those giant trees. Nobody will stop us. This is by a book. This is our motherfucking movie. All we got to do is just lay low for a couple years and cook this frog slowly. Stay out of trouble. There's nothing illegal about making videos from the comfort of home. Publishing our blood atonement to the internet that we intend to bring forth heaven and earth. Standing side by side, blood is thicker than water. It's clear fucking who the Prince of Darkness is. You will put up or shut up. The angel of death comes with the motherfucking position. And the demon codes. You're the demon caught between the dimensions. This place goes pandemonium. You give the demonstration. It's clear what the fuck is up. Anytime I ever see a demon-possessed person, it's a fucking silly human slave with some priest over him. Preaching Jesus, and Jesus is the Son. And you're waiting for someone to come back after you fucking murdered him? Or your ancestors nailed his ass to a cross? He wasn't even Christian or Catholic or Protestant. That didn't come until after. Jesus was a Jew. So what I'm saying to you is that for you to call me a Satanist, I'm alive, motherfucker. Satanist would be anybody who worshipped my dead body like it was dead on a cross. I assure you, we're getting out of here alive.
Now the whole world was full of living beings. Everything that creeps, everything that crawls, and every beast that walks upon the ground. And it was good. It was all good. There was light and air and water and soil, all clean and unspoiled. Your plants and fish and fowl and beast, each after their own kind, all part of the greater whole, all in their place, and all was in balance. It was paradise, the jewel in the Creator's palm.
However, all the isotopes of lead were also produced in the supernova. Therefore, when scientists want to determine the age of a meteorite, they can measure the amount of lead and uranium in it, but some of that lead was there from the beginning, with only a fraction being derived from the decay of uranium. Knowing exactly how much is paramount to getting an accurate date. Clearly, those scientists must be making up numbers to fit their agenda. How else could they know? They weren't there.
And the Creator made man, and by his side woman, father and mother of us all. He gave them a choice. Follow the temptation of darkness, or hold on to the blessing of light.
You need to take yourself from the book of death and into the book of life. You don't understand this concept. The world is mine. Anybody steps in my direction the wrong way, a lightning bolt will like literally come out of the ground rather than the sky. You know? Something will jump at them. It's that. This is biblical stuff. I bring forth the flood, the consciousness.
Well, actually, a moment of careful thought will lead you to the answer. How can you determine how much primordial lead there was in the early solar system? Simple. Find a meteorite that contains lead but no uranium. Every such meteorite has exactly the same ratio of lead isotopes. For example, there are 15 parts lead-204 for every 985 parts lead-207, and lead-204 is not the product of any decay process. Therefore, if you measure the amount of lead-204 in your meteorite of choice, you can calculate how much of the other lead isotopes are primordial, the remainder being the product of radioactive decay. But this only...
You know, in the old days I'd have to come with dragons blowing fire at my ass. But good thing I have an internet. I could do this from the comfort of home. And it's like too easy. It's nothing illegal about making videos pointing at the Holy Grail and then leading an exodus, paving the way. I don't want your money. I don't want your worship. You're
7.88, meaning the solar system is not 4.55 billion years old. Actually closer to 4.545 billion years old. So when someone says radiometric dating is inaccurate, yes, it's 0.1% inaccurate. Radiometric dating is actually a collection of over a dozen independently verifiable techniques, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. Potassium-argon dating is useful to determine when igneous rock solidified. Potassium decays into argon gas, which can diffuse out of liquid rock. Once the rock solidifies, all newly produced argon will be trapped, starting the clock. However, if the rock is reheated, any trapped argon can be released, resetting the clock. Scientists know this and will not use this technique on rock that shows evidence of reheating. Carbon-14 dating can be used to determine when organic material was last alive. Carbon dioxide containing a C14 atom is taken up and incorporated into plants. The amount of C14 in the plant is in equilibrium with C14 in the atmosphere. How do we know how much C14 was in the atmosphere in the past? We calibrate it using trees. How do we know how old the trees are? Simple. We count the rings. Once the plant dies, incorporation stops, starting the clock. This technique only works for organisms that are closely tied to atmospheric carbon, such as plants, herbivores, and carnivores that eat herbivores. But deep-sea organisms feeding on carbon that has long since been in the atmosphere will give horribly inaccurate dates. Also, nitrogen-14 that is in close proximity to uranium can be converted into C14.
But they ate from the forbidden fruit. Their innocence is extinguished. And so for the 10 generations since Adam, sin has walked within us. Brother against brother. Nation against nation. Man against creation. We murdered each other. We broke the world. We did this. Man did this. Everything that was beautiful, everything that was good, we shattered. Now, it begins again.
in the book of death for a reason. I don't want your advice. It's it. You're in that book for a reason. It's called a book of life with 144,000 names for a reason.
To call radiometric dating flawed is like calling a bicycle a flawed means of transportation simply because you can't ride it to the moon, or a fork a flawed utensil because you can't use it to eat soup. Each technique has its strengths and weaknesses, and scientists know these. Who do you think discovered and published them? When used appropriately, they all yield highly accurate and consistent results. The solar system is 4.55 billion years old, give or take a few million years. Scientists will continue to refine their techniques and overturn old ideas, an ongoing effort to better our understanding of the universe. Creationists will continue to lie and mislead in an effort to drag society back into the dark ages of dogmatic and theocratic rule. But you are still free to.
Now, it begins again.
I mean, basically, all of you are brainwashed by bullshit. You are of your father, the devil. He was a murderer and a liar from the beginning, and there is no truth in him.